Okay, guys. So since I can't be with you here today, I figured I should probably show you guys what I want you to be doing. So last time we made something that looks like these. So you had a sky page and you have a land page. All right. Now, what you're eventually going to do is you're going to have them cut out so that you can stack them like so to make our final piece. So here's how you want to get that. The first thing you're going to do is set aside your sky page. You don't need it quite yet. And what I like to do is just cut the two pieces apart, just so we know what we're dealing with, okay? So you can set off your field there. Set your field to the side. And now you can trim your hills. So if there's like a part of your paper that sort of got painted sort of brushily and not really nicely, you could just trim that off if you like. It's kind of nice. So even if you didn't paint within the lines, it's not a big deal. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take that and get our sky piece back. And before you glue this down, oops, these are not quite the same width. That's all right, they can be trimmed. If there's any part of your sky that doesn't go quite down far enough, you can always do a quick little dab of paint there and get that sorted. This is only a tiny little, it's just a tiny smidge there, so I don't even notice it, so I'm not going to worry about it. Now for gluing it down, you're going to want to run a little bead of glue kind of along the edge, and you'll notice that I'm keeping the tip of my glue bottle on the paper because I don't want to just like drizzle glue like that. That's going to give us too much glue. I'm just sort of zigzagging it along, keeping the glue tip nice and close to my paper so it kind of scrapes a nice little thin line, and then I'm just going to glue that down right there. Actually, I can even scoot this up a little bit because this doesn't have to go all the way down to the bottom of the paper now that I think about it. Now, to get this thing to stick, you're really going to have to hold it down. You're probably going to have to hold it down for at least like a bare minimum of 30 seconds, possibly even more like a minute. Because if you're thinking about it, this is two very thick pieces of paper. It's tag board, so it's already thick paper, but it's made even thicker by the addition of all the paint and the chalk pastels that we added on there. So there are two very thick pieces of paper that don't really necessarily want to stick well together. So you really have to hold them down. Okay, next thing, we're going to cut our little field out. And again, if you want to trim off parts of your cypresses that don't really look right to you, that aren't super neat, you can totally do that. Just get your scissors in there and just go for it. You guys can always pause me, you know, you can always pause me and then hit play again. You can start working whenever you feel like it. Don't want to get too far ahead of me though, right? Okay. Now, there's our field. Oh, that's going to look really nice there. Okay, so then we'll just get our glue again. Same thing. And I'm just sort of outlining everything first. This makes sure that every little corner, every little edge at least has some glue. And then I go back in with the little thin squiggle. It's a little squiggle, and I'm continuing to press the tip of the glue onto my paper as I do that. And some of you guys might notice that some of the paper is not lining up super well. I was having some issues with my paper cutter as I was cutting down the paper to the size that we needed for this project. And so if you have some paper that's not quite even, don't worry about it. We can put your projects on the drying rack, and I can trim them next time. You can take them home today if you really want, though, and just with a paper trimmer or something else that makes a nice straight line, give it a good cut. I wouldn't want to cut it with scissors, though, because that wouldn't give us a nice neat line. There. So once everything is all glued down really nicely, then there's your finished project. Your Van Gogh cypresses with all the swirly textures of the sky, the bouncy textures of the hills, and the grassy texture of the fields. Good job.